here. Quick live stream. Heading into Monday Night Football tonight. I'm going to talk about the Titans game yesterday, talk about the NSC game tomorrow, talk about the bets from this weekend, especially NFL yesterday. Not a great day. Not too positive. So let's see if we can get bailed out by Monday Night Football. All right, so we got the Rams and the Buccaneers tonight. Oh, that's bright. Tom Brady, Jared Goff, Aaron Donald, all those other players that play on both those teams. My pick tonight, what I'm rolling with is Bucks minus 4.5. If you watched the video with me and Sissy earlier this week trying to figure out what to do on that game, I talked myself in and out of both sides of it like 3 different times during that video. So I kind of just didn't even mess with the game at all. Over the weekend, wasn't even thinking about it. Then 2 things happened. Warren Sharp, big, smart, I don't know, smart, one of the top names in analytics, advanced stats, things like that. He's on a lot of podcasts. He sounds pretty good when he's talking. What he's talking about usually sounds to make sense to me in my brain. So, except when he talks about Titans, he seems to have a weird bias against the Titans. I don't know what it is. He hates the Titans. He has been brutal to them ever since the COVID thing happened, even though it's been proven that really it wasn't their fault. All the stuff that happened with the COVID, he's still calling them cheaters, calling them crazy, that they were irresponsible, even though all that's been disproven and said by the NFL that it wasn't true. Got off track. So he's got a site where he offers betting analysis, offers betting tips, offers bets, stuff like that. It's usually a paid site. He does a free week once per NFL season where you can get whatever recommendations he puts out during that week. That was this week. One of the recommendations released was Buccaneers minus 4.5. That was good enough for me to push it to where I was going to take it. The other thing that happened that made me want to take that pick tonight was Joe Mad. If you saw the video he came out with that I put on my channels, his pick tonight is the other side, Rams plus 4.5. So if you've been following along with Joe Mad's picks on my Twitter, my Instagram, it's technically my TikTok, but Joe Mad's the only one that posts on it. He has literally, I think for at least 4 or 5 days in a row, he'll hit one day on, off, on, off, on, off. Yesterday, the pattern continued. He hit Dallas plus 7.5 against the Minnesota Vikings. So if the trend continues, that means he's going to miss tonight. So I'm fading Joe Mad, going with Warren Sharp, Bucks 4.5. Why I originally was kind of against the Bucks when I was talking about it with Sissy last week was I thought Aaron Donald and the Rams pass rush could give Brady problems. You know, that seems to be what's caused him the most trouble this season, has been teams that have been able to get pressure on him. But the same is true on the other side of the ball. Jared Goff has been pretty terrible against teams that got good pass rush on him. I think the Bucs should be able to do that. The one thing the Bucs have going for them that the Rams don't, home field advantage. LA is flying from LA to Florida. They've done that at least twice now because they had to play in Miami. Crazy season, crazy things. I think they played on the East Coast like 20 times this season, which is insane. Used to be a big betting trend. Like anytime a team has to go from the West Coast to the East Coast, fade the team coming from the West, especially if it's like something where they end up having to play like a noon kickoff, which isn't the case in this one, so it doesn't really apply. But LA coming to the East Coast, the time change, the Bucs are coming off a bye. The Rams, I don't know if they're coming off a bye or not. Whatever. I flipped it in my brain last week when I was talking in the YouTube video. Then Warren Sharp picking it, and Joe Mad picking against it. Made Bucks minus 4.5, the pick that made sense to me. So I've got it locked in for tonight. We're recommending you do too, especially because of the Joe Mad part. That's the one I'm really sold on is Joe Mad, fade Joe Mad. That worked. All right, so let's look back while we're talking about betting before we move on to some other stuff real quick. What happened this weekend? First of all, after 3-2 last week, Sissy fell to 1-4 yesterday. Not her fault. I'm the one making the picks. I just present them to her and I say, which are the best picks? Which of these picks do you like the best? So the 10 I gave her last week were Arizona plus 3.5 against Seattle. She didn't like that. I took it anyway. It lost. Arizona, Seattle over 57.5. She didn't like that. I took it anyway. It lost. New England was originally minus 3.5 against Houston when we talked about it. I got it at 2.5. Didn't matter either way. Houston won outright. It lost. She picked that one. Falcons plus 5.5 against New Orleans. I think it was down to 4.5 when I got it. Didn't matter. New Orleans won comfortably. Sissy picked that one. It lost. Here's our one winner from this week. Jets plus 9.5. LA Chargers. Everything in that one made sense to me. Like he's not beating anybody that badly. the Jets are going to do just enough to lose games to make sure they stay in their prime position. That's exactly what happened. Also, another Warren Sharp pick. He threw out the over in that game, hit easily. I took that, added that to my bets, so that one helped us out a little bit. But kind of going back to the New England, some of these, if I just looked at my own stuff that I've been talking about, going back to when I was blogging, going back to when I was doing other stuff, I would have made some of these picks if I had them do over again. Number one, New Orleans. I've said all along, Drew Brees, his arm's gone, but they've got the defense, the running game, the supporting pieces to where they can win in spite of the fact that he's not what he once was as a quarterback. So him being out shouldn't have been that big of a deal to me. I should have known that they could still beat the lowly Falcons comfortably. That's a dumb brain one by me. Patriots, I've screwed up on them 3 weeks in a row. They burned me when I had them versus the Jets, but I live bet that game to get them to win, and that kind of saved me a little bit there. I went against them when they played the Ravens, and they won that game, screwed me over again. I think I'm done with the Patriots. I might just write them off. They might be a stay-away team for the rest of the season. What else here? Miami minus 3.5. You know what's weird about this one? I knew Miami was going to have a come back down to earth game at some point in time, but I was just like, I'm going to keep riding them. They'd hit like 2-3 weeks in a row for me, so I was just going to ride them until they had it. Didn't think it would have been this week against the Broncos because the Broncos have stunk up to this point, but came true. Tua got benched. Weird game for them. Going to Mile High, the altitude, who knows what it was. That was a loser. Dallas, Minnesota. Dallas plus 8.5 came down to 7.5. That was one Sissy didn't want to take, but Joe Mad picked it. I actually rode with Joe Mad because I ride with Joe Mad most of the time, so that was a winner for me, helped me out a little bit. But it won yesterday, which means today's not going to win for Joe Mad. That's why I'm fading Joe Mad. I rode with him as long as I could, but now there's a clear pattern to his picks, so got to fade him today. We had KC minus 6.5, jumped up to 8 with all the COVID issues the Vegas Raiders were having. Sissy picked that one. I went with it. It was a loser. Should have known from the first game. I'd been high on Vegas all season. I'd liked them ever since that first Chiefs game. Thought they were a solid team. Thought they were better than we expected them to be this season. And then I just went out and thought the Chiefs were going to blow them out despite that. So another dumb brain one. Should just listen to myself, the stuff I've been thinking. I don't know why I changed my thought on them just because of one game. The stupid bus thing got in my head where the Chiefs were upset about them doing a victory lap around their stadium in a bus. Dumb. Then I also had suggested to Sissy the Atlanta New Orleans over. That one did not hit. We did not take that, so that was smart all around. But overall, if you look at it, the 10 picks that I came up with and presented to Sissy, we only had, out of the 10, 9 have played, 2 were losers, and I've changed my mind on one of them. Because originally I suggested to Sissy Rams plus 3.5 versus the Bucks, and now I flipped to Bucks minus 4.5. So that shows you what I know about gambling. I'm clearly terrible at it. But we're going to press on. I've tweaked what we're going to do this week with Sissy. This week with Sissy, I'm just going to give her the games that I think are the best games to bet on. I'm not going to tell her what I would pick. I'm just going to, let her ask questions. I'll give her any information I feel like I have on those games and just let her make the picks. Because clearly, when I come up with the picks, they are a failure. Hang on. I think somebody wants to be let in. Oh, he has joined us. All right, so that was what we did, but I added some other stuff, which came good. A couple things that really bailed me out from having a terrible day yesterday because I had a couple of things that hit big that made us, while it was a terrible record-wise, we ended up plus money yesterday. I had Alex Smith over 23.5 completions. That was a Warren Sharp recommendation. That one did not hit, so he's about 70% on his picks this season, which is freaking awesome. So I was going to go with whatever he put out there just because 70% is better than anything I'm doing. DraftKings had a prop. They boosted Derrick Henry, to have more rushing yards than Lamar Jackson up to plus 100. So it was even money. Whatever you bet, you get back. I took that. I didn't feel like that was breaking my rule about not betting on the Titans because props are kind of fishy. They're kind of in a weird zone. And I figured Derrick Henry, all he's got to have is about 60, 70 yards to hit that because I didn't expect Lamar to have more than 40 at the most. That one came really easy. So we won there. We doubled our money on that one. I also took I had Josh Jacobs last night in the Sunday night game to be the first touchdown scorer. He was at plus 800 odds for that. That hit, so that was a big money winner. That was the one that really bailed us out yesterday, kept us in the money. So we ended up, 4-7 overall in the picks that I actually registered yesterday. But we were plus money because that one was a big money winner. and the Henry one was a nice double up on that one. So came out okay. Record not great, but hit on some money ones that really helped us out there. So trying to get that record straightened today. I did also take Wolves in the Premier League today, money line. That lost. We are very, very close to me adding no soccer betting to the rules. Very close, because I don't know the last time I won a soccer bet. Actually, I had Chelsea -1.5 against Southampton. They won that game 4-1. So that's been my one successful soccer bet since sports betting went legal in Tennessee. Not great for a guy who, prides himself on being a soccer guy. Got United on the hat. So it's close though. We're not giving up on it yet, but we're very close to putting no soccer betting as a rule. But that was the only other pick today that I have other than Tampa. Riding the Tampa on Warren Sharp's recommendation and to fade Joe Mad. That's it for that. Titans game yesterday. Really weird game. I thought the Titans played really well throughout, but I don't know. It was kind of like, I don't know if I was watching it on delay, so I don't know if I wasn't as engaged as I would be if I was watching it live, like when it aired. I did kind of know what the end result was. I didn't know what the final score was, but I had seen some things. I tried really hard to avoid spoilers all day long, but it's almost impossible, especially, when it's the hometown team. So I kind of knew from some clues, some indications I saw throughout the day that the Titans had won. Didn't know the final score, so the way we got there was, all new to me and something that I got to see along the way. But it was weird because, I thought we were playing well. And like I said, I don't know if I wasn't paying attention closely enough or what exactly happened, but I kind of blinked and we were down 21-10. And suddenly it was like, oh, wait a minute, we're kind of in trouble in this game. But at the same time, I was kind of like, well, I think I know that we win this game. So I don't really know if we're really in trouble or not. But the Ravens just kind of stopped playing, and then we just turned it on. It was the best second half we've had. We've had a few comebacks already this season, but I think in terms of the way we executed, it wasn't as much a couple of them like the Vikings, the Texans, those teams kind of fell apart, and we took advantage of it. This was more, we grabbed the game and took it back for ourselves. I thought that was the best second half Arthur Smith's called in terms of the offense. I think a few times this season he's kind of got out-coached in the second half. I thought the Colts game in particular, we looked kind of lost and hopeless on offense. The Steelers game, we kind of looked lost and hopeless kind of out of the get-go, but only having one possession in the first quarter will do that to you, so I don't really hold that one against him because the script kind of got blown out of the gate of that one. But yesterday, he seemed to have all his mojo clicking in the second half especially. A.J. Brown, it was so weird. It looked like he had a few drops right out of the gate. It looked like he was still going to be in the funk that he's been in the last couple of weeks. And then just out of nowhere, he exploded and went nuts and finished strong, had that insane touchdown where he's just dragging Ravens in the end zone. It was freaking awesome. But it's a good thing to build on. We mostly played better defensively. I still think there's some stuff where we're sitting off a little too much. Malcolm Butler, for whatever reason, was the designated sit 10 yards deep one. It's one thing if you're doing that on longer yard situations where it kills me. We gave up some easy 3rd and 7s, 3rd and 6s, where if they've only got 6-7 yards to go and the DB's 12 yards off the receiver, that should be an easy thing every day long. I don't know. We didn't do as much of it. It just seemed to be one DB at a time was kind of backing off. There was something there. And it seemed like the big touchdown to the tight end they had, the longer touchdown, that seemed to be a miscommunication where the corner let go and the over-the-top safety didn't shift over where he was supposed to. We had two safeties running with somebody that was going on the post. Those are correctable issues, whereas the last couple weeks, the defense just looked hopeless. So thought it was a good game. Thought we built up some things. Thought we came back stronger and adjusted things we needed to adjust. Injuries are piling up. Not good. Jayon Brown being out for the season sucks. Will Compton stepped in, and, I like him. I love busting with the boys. I think he's a solid, gritty player, but he definitely looked like a player who had been on practice squad for the last 3 weeks and mostly been running scout team, running other teams' defenses and not ours, because he was a little step off on all his reads as he was going into stuff. I was watching him closely just because I'm a fan of him as a person, so I wanted to see how he did as a player in the game. And definitely there was a little bit of a – never really hurt us, it seemed like. It seemed like he was pretty good about keeping up with the play, being where he was supposed to be. But definitely seemed to be like a step behind a little bit, but we had a good overall defensive performance, so it didn't like hurt us there. But something to be interesting to see going forward. Do we have anybody else that steps into that role? Is Will Compton there for the rest of the season? I think he can manage it, with more practice time, being prepared to be the starter. But yesterday he, looked a little slow, a little bit behind. Tyson Brello out for the season. So we're down to whoever we start going forward at left tackle is going to be our third choice left tackle. Hopefully Roger Saffold can get back soon to strengthen that side of the line, which, the guys who stepped in yesterday played well. Tannehill took a few hits, but he's not, I think that's another thing that Arthur Smith is doing well. He's designing plays where Tannehill can get the ball out fast and not have to deal with the pressure as much, so that's good. A few too many hits still getting taken, though. The interception he threw was really bad, but he was under so much pressure right there. I kind of give him a pass on that, kind of forgive him for that because he got hit within like 2 seconds of it dropping back, so there's only so much he can do in that situation. But obviously the injury sucked. If Isaiah Wilson can put it together, can kind of start getting to be where we needed him to be from the get-go, that could be huge. If we could somehow swing Dennis Kelly to the left side, get Isaiah Wilson on the right where he's supposed to be playing, that would be very nice. I don't see that being very likely to happen. Quisenberry was fine when he came in, but at a certain point in time, you're on your third string left tackle, and that's never where you want to be. But, we've also still got Vaccaro, Humphreys, Adoree, all these people that have been out. Who knows when or if they're coming back. That's my main concern with the Titans going forward. I feel a lot better about the defense. The offense seems to have found some rhythm and got some good things going, but the injuries, not great. Not good. Not what we need, especially going into the biggest game of the season against the Colts this Sunday. I'm pretty pumped up. Originally I thought I was going to have to work this Sunday, but unless, knock on wood, I'm going to be off, so I'll be able to watch the game. Don't know how I'm going to do it. Don't know if I'm going to go to a friend's house. Don't know if I'm going to go to a restaurant, bar. Don't know if I'm just going to sit here on my couch and watch it. But I'm excited to get to watch it live because having to try to make it through the day without getting spoilers like I did this past Sunday sucks, especially when it's a big game like that. You want to get the moments live. Like if I got to see that Derrick Henry touchdown, run in overtime, get to see everybody flipping out live on Twitter, have everybody texting me all at the same time, would have been 100 times better than watching it 4 hours later like I did. So excited to be able to watch the Colts game live this week. Hopefully we learn from what happened in the first game with the Colts, come back in with a better game plan, better issues, or the issues smoothed out. Special teams, not a problem at all yesterday. I don't know how you could be as bad as we were against the Colts 1 week. I mean, we had 10 days off. I don't know what all would have gone into correcting that and changing that, but snaps were good, punts were good, holds were good, kicks were good. I don't know if they changed some of their prep, what they're doing in practice to get themselves mentally and physically prepared. That was kind of what I was thinking. Maybe we could score on with special teams is that the fact that Goskowski has struggled this season, the kickers that struggled for us last season are having good seasons. It had me wondering, is there something in the way the Titans practice special teams that has us not as mentally ready for the games? Not our kickers, I guess, especially. And maybe that leads to some of the focus, some of the issues with the kicks, and maybe they changed some of that. I don't know. But it was fine. Goskowski nailed the field goals he was supposed to nail. Punts were all perfectly fine. Nothing spectacular, but nothing disastrous like we had against the Colts. So good. It was a good three-phase performance after a terrible 2.5, three-phase performance against the Colts. So hopefully we can build off that. Hopefully, we can survive the injuries that we had right there and head into the biggest game of the season because we're right where we need to be. We win this game, we're right back in the first place in the division. We went from somehow being outside of the playoffs going into this week to now we're back, we're the top wild card right now as it stands. But I think the team's goal was not to be a wild card team. It was to win the division finally for the first time since 2008. And big chance to do that. This is, a put up or shut up type game. This is the games. It's a cliche, but that they play for. This is the type of game you want to be in. Going up to Indy, trying to get a big win. Looking forward to that. I'll probably either in the Sissy video or maybe another live video later in the week kind of break that down and give my thoughts on that. It's too early to really assess because we got to see who's coming back from the injury list, who maybe will be added to the injury list. A lot can change in the next couple of days. We could have Kern back. He's set out the 3 games he had to sit out. So does he come back? Who knows? Who's to say? We'll see. But yeah, definitely could Adoree come back. some of these other guys, Vaccaro, Humphreys, can we get them out of concussion protocol? We'll know more later in the week, so we'll look at that game more later in the week. But the last thing I want to hit on this live stream, because I got to check out the Monday night game, see how we're doing on my bet for that. Nashville SC, huge game Friday. We've talked about that a little bit already. Got the big dub against Inter Fort Lauderdale to win their first ever MLS Cup playoff game. I was there. I made the vlog for it. That vlog came out today, so if you haven't seen it already, it's on the YouTube channel. Like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell for all notifications. Check that video out. It just came out today. Got some nice clips of some Fort Lauderdale fans being hooligans and kind of a-holes there, so always fun to see that happening in American soccer because, people think the MLS isn't real soccer, but we've got hooligans just like the rest of the world. So check that out for sure. But they're right back at it tomorrow night, Tuesday night, quick turnaround. It's kind of crazy. The entire MLS Cup playoffs is going to be played in less than a month. There's literally going to be like 2.5, 3 games a week. Like the finals, the championship game is December 12th. So we're like literally 2.5 weeks away from that. So tomorrow night, 5 o'clock, local time, Central Time, Boys in Gold take the field against Toronto FC, who I have taken to calling the U.S. men's national team retirement home. Kind of a joke. I saw those players that they have up there able to compete in the MLS, specifically Michael Bradley, Omar Gonzalez, Josie Altidore. Those are the 3 that I'm kind of referring to there. But they're a solid team. There's a reason they're the second place team in the playoffs. They got that 2 seed for a reason. That's 3 guys who know the ins and outs of the MLS. They know what it takes to win in this league. They've all won championships, so they know what it takes to win championships in this league. And that's a big thing, across sports, there's a little bit of degree of, having to have had to been there to know what you're getting yourself in for, so Nashville SC doesn't have that. So hopefully, they can overcome the experience factor that Toronto has going for them. Because I think that, I like the way the team's set up. I like the way that they're set up for a playoff run. Because like I've said in other videos and other things, having that solid of a defense, having that solid of a goalkeeper in a competition that you don't have to score goals to win. We can literally finish the game 0-0 and go to kicks from the mark. And if we win kicks from the mark, we go through the next round. So, goal scoring has been our issue. But you don't have to score goals to advance in this tournament. Now, it came out today, Annabelle Godoy. I'm probably butchering names. That's how I do when I talk about soccer. He's out. We saw him limp off in the game Friday. Had a bad feeling that it was probably meaning he wouldn't be able to play Tuesday, but had our fingers crossed, had our hopes up. He was officially ruled out today, so that's a big loss in midfield. He's part of the reason we have such a solid defense. Him and the captain, Dax McCarthy, screening for the back 4 back there, protecting them, keeping that, being that kind of first line of defense. We got a few solid options that can step in for him that can hopefully, not necessarily be at his same level, but at a level that can keep us in the game, keep us protected. So huge, huge game. I like Nashville's chances. Like I said, if you can just keep control the way we do, keep the scores down, I think we've got a chance. If, we've got Mukhtar, Leal, Jonder all playing together, all, kind of firing, all kind of looking very good. Rios has been in solid form. We've got him coming off the bench. We got our 2 attacking players who I'm not going to pronounce their names, Baji and the other one, Denali. They're coming back. They're available tomorrow. Whether they play or not, they're available. So in terms of getting goals, scoring goals, we've got options coming back. We're probably at the strongest we've been health-wise in attack all season. So, I like our chances. I think it's going to be a great game. Obviously, I don't think we'll beat them 3-0 the way we did in Fort Lauderdale. They had players out for COVID, and they just kind of stink. They shouldn't have been in the playoffs anyway. They were number 10. They were the 10th seed. 10th seed's not supposed to be in the playoffs, but it's a weird year. So, hats off to them for being the 10th best team in the weird lopsided Eastern Conference, for whatever that's worth. But I'd love to see us win again. I think we've got Zimmerman. We've got Romney locking it down. Joe Willis, for me, probably the best goalkeeper in the MLS this season. He had the most clean sheets, but somehow wasn't even nominated for that award. I don't really know how that works, but whatever. I'll be watching that game for sure tomorrow. Looking forward to it. Score prediction, I'm going to say 1-1, and it goes to kicks from the mark. What happens there? Who knows? Because anything can happen once you get to kicks from the mark. But I think it's going to 1-1. sounds about right to me in that game, and kicks from the mark to determine who goes on to the next round. So I'm going to tune in Monday Night Football, see how my bet goes, see if Bucks -4.5 cashes. Was I right to fade Joe Mad? Was I right to go with Warren Sharp? We'll figure that out. Hopefully you're on the right side of whatever happens in tonight's game if you're betting as well. Like I said, go over to my YouTube channel if that's where you're watching me. If you're watching me on Twitter, go over to the YouTube channel. Subscribe, hit the bell for notifications because I post about 3 videos a week to a few live streams. Starting to do the picks videos with the cats. I'm a sissy, which this week we're changing up the formula of how I do that because this past week's videos did not work out well. We need winners. We're going to find them. Oh, Manchester United plays tomorrow too. They've got the Champions League game against Istanbul. I don't know. I can't predict anything with United. United has been so all over the place this season. No point predicting what they're going to do. It's a crappy team that's barely in the Champions League. It should be an easy win. It's at Old Trafford, but that hasn't meant anything this season, especially because there's no fans still over there. 2-0 United. Let's say that's what's going to happen. Thanks for watching. That's all for me. That's all for Oli. You have any thoughts you want to share? Nope. Okay. We're getting out of here. Enjoy your Monday night. Happy Thanksgiving.